I won 50 million. I accidentally sent this message to my boyfriend Ryan by mistake. The next day, I was woken up by his phone call. The lottery didn't win at all. Zoe. You're playing with me. Me? Who said I won the lottery? Zoe. Are you serious? Making such a joke. Are you crazy for money? You're even lying. When did you become so vain? Do you know how much trouble you've cost me? I had an important interview today. Now it's all gone. Ryan ranted on the other end of the phone. I, looking at the messy living room in front of me, rolled my eyes. So, how do you know the lottery ticket I bought didn't win? I asked him. Of course I know. I'm at the lottery redemption point right now. They're treating me like a fool. I'm so embarrassed. Ryan seemed very angry. I smiled and continued to ask him. So, Helen Kauduia, you took my lottery ticket. Ryan. It didn't win. It's worthless. Are you going to argue with me about this now? Shouldn't you apologize to me first for lying? Ryan was good at shifting the blame. Zoe, heading to sell Leo Psi. I've taken a fancy to a computer recently. It's not expensive. Only 20,000. Buy it for me as an apology gift. And I'll forgive you this time. Me? He mistook that my lottery ticket won 50 million. Then came to my house to steal the ticket. And now that he finds out it's a misunderstanding, he blames me for not explaining clearly? I think he might need a wake-up call in life. Who gave you the courage? Liang Jingru? Or did Fei Wang give you the nerve? Ryan, who had just calmed down, raised his voice again. Zoe. What do you mean? You still don't realize your mistake, do you? I rolled my eyes. I don't argue with idiots. After saying that, I was about to hang up the phone. As a result, Ryan got extremely excited. Even if I moved the phone away, I could still clearly hear his yelling. Break up. Zoe. If you don't apologize, we're breaking up. After Ryan shouted, he suddenly calmed down. He probably thought he could control me by breaking up. My response was okay. Break up. Delete each other. Be a completely out of touch ex. After saying that, I hung up the phone neatly and even blocked him in one go. I've wanted to block him for a long time. If it weren't for the fact that my mom's best friend, who is my sister's classmate, insisted on introducing him to me, and my mom was pushing me so hard to get married. And he looked a bit like my first love. Could I have tolerated him? But just being a bit like my first love couldn't make me tolerate his stealing behavior. I thought that after blocking him, Ryan and I would be strangers who didn't interfere with each other. But I obviously underestimated how disgusting Ryan could be. A week later, I was stopped by Ryan at the entrance of my company. It was just the end of the workday, and there were people coming and going. Many of them were colleagues I knew or who knew me. Ryan clearly had this in mind. He stood in front of me, shouting as if he had a megaphone. Zoe, didn't your parents teach you about being honest? Lying just for a bit of vanity. I'm really disappointed in you. And you still don't realize your mistake. Me. If you're sick, turn left and take a taxi to the mental hospital. You're welcome. I didn't even bother to pay attention to him. But Ryan just wouldn't let me go. Zoe, heading so mad sigh. You lied first and you still have the nerve? I'm telling you, breaking up is fine. I've wanted to break up with you for a long time. Someone with your low moral character will never be able to enter my Ryan family. I didn't even want to argue with this jerk. I nodded in agreement. Yes. Yes, heading so wide sigh. Your Ryan family is like royalty. And I'm just an ordinary civilian. I'm not worthy. Not worthy. Ryan snorted. Since you have this awareness, at least you have some self-knowledge. However, if we break up, you have to compensate me for the mental damage. Me? What the hell? I felt like my worldview was about to be refreshed. Ryan, however, didn't think there was anything wrong. I accompanied you in this relationship. You should compensate me for the youth loss fee during this period, and the psychological shadow you caused me by lying. Considering our relationship, I'll give you a 12% discount. 100,000 yuan. Me? Is your face embedded with diamonds? After saying that, I shook my head. Are you out of your mind? Ryan's face turned dark. Zoe. He suddenly got closer to me and threatened. Do you believe I'll spread the word about your lying in your company? It's not easy to get into this company. You don't want to lose your job, do you? I really didn't expect that a person could be so shameless. Although Ryan and I had only been dating for a month and didn't even hold hands, I was still disgusted. How could I have dated such a person? Mom. My life has a stain. My silence made Ryan think I was scared. He sneered. Zoe. 100,000 yuan. And we'll be even. I looked at Ryan and let out a long sigh. I have 100,000 yuan. But what should I do? I'd rather give it to a dog than give it to you. My tone was full of pretensive pity. Ryan's emotions were not easy to control. He got excited again. Zoe. You'll regret it. I nodded and said. I'm looking forward to your show. I didn't know if Ryan really intended to mess up my job or if he was just irritated by me. After I finished speaking, he actually rushed to the gate downstairs of my company and shouted to the people coming and going, everyone. I'm Zoe's ex-boyfriend. We dated for a month, and she asked me for hundreds of thousands of yuan worth of gifts. She also vainly told others that she won the lottery and bought these herself. When I refused to pay for her luxury items again, she wanted to break up with me. This is emotional fraud. Me. Ryan spoke with great indignation. The people around also looked shocked. However, the situation where people pointed at me as Ryan expected didn't happen. Instead, they were frightened and moved away from Ryan. Ryan clearly didn't quite understand what was happening in front of him. The next second, the company's security guards arrived and directly controlled Ryan from both sides. Then dragged him out. What are you doing? Are you violating my personal freedom? Or do you want to cover for Zoe and collude with her? The security guard couldn't stand listening to Ryan's words. Brother. Do you know who she is? The security guard asked. A vain emotional fraudster. Ryan replied firmly. The security guard sneered. This is our company's young mistress. Our company is worth tens of billions. Who cares about your little money? Ryan was stunned. I watched all this calmly, hiding my achievements and fame. However, the next second, Zoe. When did your taste become so bad? A familiar voice almost made my expression crack. I turned my head and looked at this face that I was so familiar with but hadn't seen for a long time. And froze on the spot. Ray. When did you come back to China? I tried to make my voice as steady as possible. After that, I couldn't help but ask. You didn't see anything, did you? As soon as I said this, I felt like I was clearly showing my guilt. I wished I could bite my tongue off. Ray looked confused. See what? When I heard this, I felt a bit happy. He might have only heard part of the conversation. However, the next second, see that your ex-boyfriend looks a bit like Ella's uncle? Me? Ray stretched out his hand, touched his chin, and said with emotion, not to mention. The tear mole under your ex-boyfriend's eye is in exactly the same position as Ella's uncle's. Ray. I couldn't stand it anymore. I picked up my bag and threw it at him. Ray was quick-witted and caught my bag. He clicked his tongue and said, Sis. I've been away for so many years and finally came back to China. Is this how you treat me? I sneered. I'm being kind and considerate enough not to beat you up. Ray rolled his eyes. Then got closer to me and winked. This time, Ella's uncle came back to China with me. Oh. I replied inferiorly. TSK. Zoe. Why are you looking for a substitute for Ella's uncle here? Why don't you just go after Ella's uncle directly? Ray asked me. I also rolled my eyes at him. What substitute? I just like this type. Okay? And uncle is my male god. A male god that can only be admired from afar and not be approached casually. I don't want to be frozen to death by him. I muttered to myself again. Ray nodded in agreement. You're right. Ella's uncle is like a flower on a high mountain. It's not easy to get him. We'd better find more substitutes. I said. I just like this type. I'm not looking for a substitute. Ray nodded perfunctorily. Okay, hadn't fulfilled land session. Okay, hadn't fulfilled land session. Okay. You like this type. Come on. Let your little brother take you to a club to find some people who look like Ella's uncle. We don't have to focus only on the mole. People with similar eyes, facial features, Or lips will do. Me. I'm not looking for a substitute for Ella's uncle. I couldn't bear it anymore and shouted at Ray. And then, the next second my substitute? The voice of Ella's uncle came from behind me. This time, I didn't even have the courage to turn around. It being caught by Ray was just embarrassing. Then being discovered by the real person now. Besides dying of embarrassment. There's no other word that can perfectly describe my situation. I wished I could dig a hole and bury myself in it. Ella's uncle is called Leo. He is the biological uncle of my childhood friend Ella. Although there is a generation gap, because Leo was born late, he is actually only 7 years older than me. Leo is a real tall, rich, and handsome guy. Tall, wealthy, and good-looking. Moreover, he has excellent grades. He was always the first since childhood. He was the provincial top scorer in the college entrance examination. After completing a consecutive master-doctor program, he went abroad and easily obtained a double degree. Isn't he exactly the male protagonist in a romance novel? When I was 18 and my heart was fluttering, I had a series of beautiful fantasies about Leo based on romance novels. Of course, my feelings for Leo were only limited to the male protagonist in my fantasy life. In reality, when Leo went abroad that year, I was preparing for the college entrance examination. My male protagonist was about to leave. I was so sad that I insisted on going with Ella to see Leo off at the airport. In front of the departure gate, I was crying my eyes out, pulling Leo's sleeve. I was just short of a life and death farewell or a grand confession. Then, Zoe. Leo looked at me and sighed. Zoe. Did you skip class today? All my feelings got stuck in my throat. Leo rubbed my head again and said, go to class well and work hard for the college entrance examination. Me. I lost all my feelings. Could you develop feelings for an elder who reminds you? Zoe. Have you finished your homework today? Every time they see you? I'm not a masochist. My rationality quickly returned. In fact, there isn't really a touching story between Leo and me. It was all just me being attracted to his looks at first sight. At that moment, I realized. I finally knew that Leo. He's the first love I can never have. Of course. I hope he just stays in my memory as a first love. I don't want to find a boyfriend who tells me, study hard in class when I'm at school, and then changes to, work hard when I start working. But I have to say, Leo's appearance really hits my aesthetic taste. As long as he doesn't say, have you finished your homework? He can be my first love. So, when I went on a blind date with Ryan for the first time, seeing the tear mole at the corner of Ryan's eye, which was so similar to Leo's, I just lost my mind. On impulse, I started dating Ryan. Thinking about it now, it was really Leo's good looks that misled me. Of course, it's no use talking about it anymore. I'm sure I don't have those thoughts anymore, but if I tell this to others, will anyone believe me? Ray wouldn't believe it. Of course, Ray would just mock me. But as long as I'm thick-skinned enough, I can endure it. But Leo, thinking like this, I feel that my life is getting gloomy again. While I was lost in thought, Ray had already started to explain for me. Uncle Ella. I was just joking with my sister. It's just that my sister's ex-boyfriend looks a bit like you. So I made a joke with her. Ray patted my shoulder, thinking he was being humorous. Me? It's as good as telling him that I found a substitute for Leo. Zoe? Leo seemed a bit surprised as he looked at me. And at this moment, I was still facing away from him. This is indeed a bit impolite. I took a deep breath, adhering to the principle that if I'm not embarrassed, then the other person will be. I turned around to look at Leo and gave him a smile. Uncle Ella. It's just a misunderstanding. I just like tear moles. My ex-boyfriend also had one. It's just a coincidence. After saying that, I fell silent. I suddenly understood my Ray and I are real siblings. Upon hearing this, Leo was taken aback. Then, let out a lull sigh. He reached out and touched the mole at the corner of his eye, asking me, this one? For a moment, I didn't know whether to nod or shake my head. And what's even scarier is, you like it? Leo smiled and said, "It's an honor. Leo really is my type." With this smile, I felt my heart flutter. I wanted to cover my heart and make a coquettish sound. But I wasn't completely carried away. My rationality suddenly kicked in. "Wait a minute, Leo. What's with your attitude?" I couldn't figure out Leo's attitude, but I knew exactly what Ryan was thinking. When I got home and saw Ryan sitting on the living room sofa, I couldn't help but roll my eyes. Seeing me come back, Ryan immediately greeted me with a smile. "Zoe, you're back? Are you tired? I ordered takeout for you. It's all your favorite food." As he spoke, he tried to take the bag from my hand. I didn't want to waste words with him. I opened the door wide and pointed to the door. "Get out." "Zoe, I was wrong. I was just so angry because you lied to me at that time. So I did something inappropriate. I've reflected on it properly. Zoe, I really love you. I can't live without you." Me. Looking at Ryan's fake affectionate appearance, I felt so disgusted that I could almost throw up my last night's dinner. "I'll count to 1. If you don't leave, I'll call the security." I didn't even want to look at him. "Zoe, forgive me this time. I'll." 1. I directly took out my phone and started to call the security. Ryan's eyes widened. "Why is it directly 1? Because I didn't even want to give him 3 seconds. Please come to 1201. Unit 1. Building 3. Yes. Someone has illegally entered. Also, help me call the police." I said coldly to the security on the other end. But Ryan still wouldn't give up. He rushed forward and tried to grab my hand. "What are you doing?" I quickly pushed him away and took a few steps back to keep a distance from Ryan. Probably seeing that I was emotional, Ryan didn't come closer. His tone was humble. "Zoe, qu'est-il facile with. Don't be afraid. I won't do anything. I love you so much. How could I hurt you?" "Ryan, let's be straightforward. You just love money." I'm not stupid enough to be deceived by him. We had such a fierce argument before. As soon as he found out that I'm the daughter of a big group, he came to please me and confess his love. Ryan nodded and didn't deny it. "Zoe, I do love money. But this doesn't conflict with my love for you. I love you. I really love you." Suddenly, Ryan plopped down on one knee in front of me. "Zoe, marry me." "Me? Let's get married. As long as you're willing. We can get married anytime. Can you believe my feelings for you now?" Ryan said it so sincerely. Unfortunately, Huddy fulfilled me. Only he was moved. I just felt it was ridiculous. He's willing to marry me. So that means he loves me? A bunch of swear words were stuck in my throat, but my upbringing stopped me from spitting them out. "Are you shameless?" was all I could blurt out in the end, which fully expressed my current state of mind. "Zoe." Ryan looked at me with a heartbroken expression. My mood was really complicated. During the month I dated him, I didn't think he was such a serious mental patient. Forget it. I didn't want to talk to him anymore. When the security comes and drives him away, this matter will be over. Why should I waste more words with him? Of course, if he keeps pestering me, I'll have to seek help from the police. Anyway, I've called both the security and the police. A double insurance. I didn't plan to say anything more, but Ryan thought this was his chance. "Zoe, think about our past. You love me too, right? If you didn't love me, why would you agree to be with me when you saw me for the first time?" Me. Stop it. Stop it. I'm almost disgusted to death, but Ryan didn't stop. "Zoe, I know you're very angry now. But you can't deny our relationship. I really know I was wrong. Let's get married. Okay? I'll love you for a lifetime and spoil you like a treasure." Seeing that Ryan was getting more and more ridiculous, when I couldn't stand it anymore and was about to interrupt him, a voice rang out first. "Is this a proposal or an apology?" I turned my head suddenly and looked at Leo at the door. I was completely stunned. Uncle? Why are you here?" Leo motioned to the gift box in his hand. "A gift for you from abroad. I almost forgot to give it to you." After that, Leo looked at Ryan, who was still kneeling on the ground. "The posture for apologizing isn't quite standard," Leo said. "Me? Before I could react, Leo had already stepped forward and kicked Ryan's unkneeling calf. Ryan cried out in pain. And he changed from kneeling on one knee to kneeling on both knees. When apologizing, your attitude should be proper. Now it's okay. You can continue, Leo said seriously. Me? Who are you? This is between me and Zoe, Leon shouted at Leo. He tried to stand up. Before he could get up, Leo kicked him again. Kneel properly. With this attitude, you want to ask for forgiveness? Me? Leo said to me earnestly. Zoe. His attitude isn't sincere. He doesn't have you in his heart. Ryan. Ryan silently knelt back down. And turned his head and pretended to look at me affectionately. Zoe. I really know I was wrong. Don't couples always quarrel? Let's make up, okay? Before I could say anything, Leo said beside me. No. When apologizing and asking for forgiveness. Not even a gift. You lack sincerity. Ryan. I ordered Zoe's favorite takeout. Leo showed surprise. Apologize with takeout? He looked at me. Zoe. Are you that easy to please? Me. Don't look for a boyfriend in the trash. Leo said very sincerely. Ryan was so angry that he was about to burst. Mind your own business. Ryan couldn't hold back and rushed forward, trying to grab Leo's collar. However, the next second, ouch. Ryan was directly thrown to the ground with a judo throw. Coincidentally, the security and the police arrived just then. Leo calmly took a tissue from the side to wipe his hands and didn't forget to explain. Self-defense. Although I was a bit shocked by how things developed, I still added silently, I'm a witness. Then, let out a low sigh. I pointed to Ryan on the ground and said, please drive him out. He's harassing me and has seriously affected my daily life. The security naturally cooperated with me. The police also reacted and asked me, did you ask the security to call the police? I nodded. He's harassing me. As soon as I finished speaking, Ryan immediately defended himself. We're a couple. We're just having a lover's quarrel. It's not harassment. She's just saying angry words because she's mad. After hearing this, the police looked at me again. Ex-boyfriend. I explained. Ryan immediately became tough. It's just a little fight and she wants to break up. It's normal for couples to quarrel. I'm really sorry to have wasted your time. You can go back now. We're just arguing. It's nothing. The police suddenly seemed a bit embarrassed. Little girl, why don't you two talk it over? Regardless of the relationship, any behavior that goes against the will of the person involved is not allowed. Leo's tone was slightly cold. The police were a bit awkward. Obviously, once feelings are involved, it's not easy for them to handle. I rolled my eyes. It's not just harassment. There's also illegal entry and burglary. And I pointed to the surveillance camera by the door and said, there's video evidence. The police took a statement from me. Regarding the accusations of Ryan's illegal entry and burglary, I provided two pieces of evidence. I never told him the password to my house. As for how Ryan knew it, I guess he saw me enter the password when he sent me home one time. I blame myself for not being more cautious. The second piece of evidence was the video of Ryan rummaging through my bag in the house. What did he steal? The police officer asked me. I paused for a moment and then chose to answer truthfully, a lottery ticket. The police officer was taken aback and asked, did it win? I shook my head. No. But he thought it did. As I spoke, I took out a screenshot of my chat records with Ryan. Although I had deleted Ryan, I had taken a screenshot when chatting with my best friend at that time. Ryan secretly entered my house and stole the lottery ticket after mistakenly thinking that my lottery ticket had won 50 million. Although it was a misunderstanding, it can prove that he had the intention to steal. I emphasized. The police officer nodded as if understanding and started to record. However, although it could prove that Ryan had the intention to steal, after all, it was just a worthless piece of paper. So in the end, the police only said that they would give Ryan a critical education. I had no choice but to accept this. Still, I emphasized one point, he has been harassing me. If the situation gets serious, we will detain him. The police also made it clear. But for now, the degree of harassment is not severe. This was within my expectations. Today was just a lesson for Ryan. Still, I regretted it. Why on earth was I so stupid as to date such an idiot? Leo had been with me all the time. Hearing this, he said, "I'll drive you to and from work these days." The police officer immediately nodded. "Yes, until my session. Yes. It's best to go with someone these days. He probably just won't give up for now. After a few days, he'll probably give up. Of course. We will also give him a serious warning. Miss Xiao, you can rest assured. Me. If a serious warning could work, it wouldn't be Ryan. But arguing further wouldn't lead to any results. Besides, I had a backup plan. I left the police station. Leo drove me home. On the way back, Leo asked me curiously, "If it's not the lottery, what is the 50 million? This question. I said helplessly, helplessly. "Wasn't it my grandpa's birthday a few days ago? My grandpa held a lottery draw. Each lottery ticket had a different reward, and the one I got was worth 50 million. I was chatting with Ella about this at that time. Who would have thought that Ryan's message would come suddenly? After I replied to him, I thought I had returned to the chat window with Ella. But who knew? Leo smiled and said, "You're lucky." After that, he suddenly said with some emotion, "I didn't expect that after all these years. You're still buying lottery tickets." Hearing this, I suddenly fell silent. I, the daughter of a large group, have been persistently buying lottery tickets without missing a single draw for 9 years. The prizes I won can't even compare to the money I spent on lottery tickets. And the reason why I buy lottery tickets. I suddenly smiled. Probably out of habit. The year I fell in love with Leo was my first year of senior high school. On the first day I confirmed my feelings. I went to Ella. "Ella, what do you think of me becoming your little aunt?" Ella laughed so hard. "Zoe, are you running a fever? Why are you talking nonsense?" I was a bit annoyed. "What? Am I not good enough for Leo?" "It's not about being good enough or not. You two are of different generations. Of course, you don't have a real blood relationship, so the generation gap isn't really a problem. But don't you think you and my uncle are completely different types?" As she spoke, Ella patted me on the shoulder and said, "Zoe, the possibility of you and my uncle being together is even lower than you winning the lottery. No, let's say they're about the same." I was extremely angry. That day, when I was walking home from school and passed by a welfare lottery store, I stopped on impulse. At that time, my thoughts were really naive. I actually thought that I could win the lottery and prove Ella wrong. Or perhaps, deep down in my heart, I also knew that the possibility of me and Leo being together was extremely slim. The naive me back then is long gone. And this habit has persisted for 9 years. I can't even tell if it's really just a habit, or if I've projected my obsession with Leo onto lottery tickets. Thinking about it this way, the beginning and end of my relationship with Ryan are actually related to Leo. Of course, over the years, it has really become a habit. After all, Leo has been away for 7 years. And all my feelings have been consumed. Just hearing Leo mention the lottery made me feel rather nostalgic. And this sense of nostalgia reached its peak when I got home and saw the gift Leo brought me. On Valentine's Day in the first year Leo went abroad, I sent him a message. "Uncle, has Uncle Feldleib say? I want to eat chocolate. Only the ones you can buy over there. New products. Valentine's Day limited edition." Leo replied to me, "Okay. I'll bring it to you when I come back to China." However, in these 7 years, Leo has never returned to China. Now, this chocolate, which no longer has the popularity it had when it first came out, appeared in front of me. I found it rather ridiculous. Was I really craving chocolate? Ella was right about one thing. Leo and I are really of different types. But following the principle of not wasting what's already bought, I unwrapped one piece. The chocolate that was once hyped up everywhere, saying that if you love her, you should buy it for her, actually tastes disgustingly sweet. It's not my favorite flavor. It's as if it's telling me that Leo and I are not a good match. Of course, I don't care anymore. I'm just a bit nostalgic. Leo seemed to be really planning to drive me to and from work every day. As soon as I opened my eyes, I saw the WeChat message Leo sent me. What do you want for breakfast? I hesitated for a long time. Finally, hadn't so still lay absurd, adhering to the principle that my first love should stay away from me. I replied, Uncle, hadn't so still website. I can manage on my own. As soon as this message was sent, Leo's call came. Are you awake? Leo asked me. I let out an hem and then suddenly didn't know what to say. Leo laughed and said, I'm downstairs in your community. I was taken aback and quickly said, Uncle, you don't have to go to so much trouble. I'm going to move today. If not, I can ask my dad to arrange a bodyguard for me. Zoe, it's no trouble. Leo replied to me. I want to do this. Leo added. I was stunned. I'm no longer the person who hides all my thoughts in my heart. Over the years, I've been in relationships. Leo's attitude is really unusual. If I was a bit confused about his actions yesterday, now, I can basically confirm that Leo wants to pursue me. Is that possible? I didn't answer for a while. And Leo continued, Take your time. I'll wait for you downstairs. Zoe, don't refuse. Okay? Leo's tone at the end was actually a bit humble. I suspected there was something wrong with my ears. Of course. Maybe there was something wrong with my mouth too. Because before I could think it through, my mouth had already replied, Okay. Me. Hearing my answer, Leo's tone quickly became much lighter. I'll wait for you. After hanging up Leo's phone, I was dazed for a long time. Finally, hadn't fulfilled Leo. I opened the lottery winning page. The lottery I bought yesterday still didn't win. Had the sun risen from the west? Or had Leo been possessed? With confusion I couldn't understand, I washed up and went downstairs in a daze. And then, I was stunned by the large bouquet of bright roses Leo handed me. Uncle? If I was basically sure before, now I'm completely certain. But Leo, hadn't fulfilled Liad Sai. Your attitude has me a bit confused. You left for 7 years. Before you left, it was study hard and make progress every day. Now you're back with a pursuit offensive? Who can react to that? Leo looked at me with a smile. But there was a hint of just right unease on his face. Zoe is single. So is it okay? Leo can be uneasy? No. In my perception, this person never does anything without certainty. No. He's probably just pretending. Even so, no one can resist Leo's face. The most typical example is me. By the time I came to my senses, I was already sitting in the passenger seat of Leo's car, holding the roses and grinning like a fool. What about the me from yesterday who vowed that I didn't care and was just a bit nostalgic? When Leo dropped me off at the company, my rationality finally returned. I got out of the car, cleared my throat, and said to Leo, Uncle, you're so smart. By sending me flowers, you can make Ryan back off. Leo? He was taken aback and then suddenly laughed. I hugged the roses in my arms tightly and waved to Leo. Uncle, I'm going to work. After saying that, I turned around and was about to run. Wait. Leo suddenly said. I actually should have run. But I stopped subconsciously and turned to look at him. Leo got out of the car and walked up to me. Zoe, can I pick you up tonight? I paused. You took the action in the morning without asking. And now why are you asking me? How am I supposed to answer this? Say no? Then I'd feel a bit sorry for myself. Say yes? Then where would I put my pride? For a question I couldn't answer, I chose to counterattack. Why did you come to pick me up this morning? Why didn't you ask in the morning? Leo smiled helplessly. I'm a bit relieved and a bit worried. What? I was a bit confused. Leo looked up at me, and his pupils were filled with my figure. Because Zoe is not easy to fool anymore. Leo said. I was taken aback. I didn't ask in the morning because I knew that once I showed up, you wouldn't refuse. And now I'm asking because, Zoe, I want to invite you to dinner. Just the two of us. Is that okay? Leo looked at me, extremely serious. I almost blurted out a yes. But fortunately, I managed to hold back. We'll see. I said to Leo. It depends on my mood. I didn't agree. But Leo smiled and asked me, what do you want to eat? Me. I haven't agreed yet. Leo clearly knew my personality well. He immediately stopped smiling and replied, I just want to be fully prepared. In case you agree and I'm all flustered. I found that I'm really easy to please. With Leo's explanation, my little bit of annoyance vanished instantly. I replied to him in a coy manner. I'm fine with anything. After saying that, when I thought back on the conversation between Leo and me, I was already despairing of myself. Unless I can't really cut off my feelings for Leo, I'm definitely no match for him. But I have one more trick. If I can't beat him, I'll join him. Oh no, that's wrong. Start over. If I can't beat him, I'll hide. I'm going to work. I left this sentence and quickly fled the scene. I was afraid that if I stayed any longer, Leo would trick me into going to the marriage registration office to get a license. Because of Leo, I was in a good mood throughout the day. Until half an hour before getting off work. The security guard called me. Miss Xiao, Ryan is here. I sneered. Okay. I know. After hanging up the phone with the security guard, I opened WeChat and sent a message to someone. Proceed as planned. After that, I opened Leo's WeChat again. Looking at Leo's profile picture, I couldn't help but smile. When I realized it, I quickly put away the smile. Then, let out a low sigh. With a serious expression, I started sending a message to Leo. Uncle, hading fulfilled sasho. I have to work overtime today. I'll be 15 minutes late. Leo's reply came almost instantly. As soon as I sent the message, Leo replied with the okay, and also sent several cute and obedient emojis. To be honest, when I saw the emojis, I was taken aback, because I really couldn't associate the cute emojis with Leo. But looking at these cute emojis, in my mind, I seemed to put Leo's face on them. When I thought about it like that, it was a bit overwhelming. So overwhelming that I wanted to pounce on him. I shook my head, trying to get this thought out of my mind, and then forced myself to calm down and start focusing on my work. Although I'm the daughter of the group's president, I don't get any special treatment at work. On the contrary, my parents have higher requirements for me. I really don't want to stay in the company to work overtime. At 5:30, I finished my work on time. At the same time, someone sent me a video call on WeChat. I clicked to accept it. Then, went out a low sigh. The screen showed the scene downstairs of the company. In the video, a girl wearing the exact same clothes as me appeared. She was wearing a mask and her head was lowered. Her hair almost covered the upper half of her face. And her figure was very similar to mine. People who knew what I was wearing in the morning could easily mistake her for me. Lian, apparently, hadn't fulfilled my adsa, was one of them. Not long after the girl walked out of the company, Ryan suddenly rushed over and stood right in front of her, grabbing her tightly with both hands. Zoe. The next second, before Ryan could say anything, the girl suddenly let out a scream. At the same time, a man who had been waiting nearby immediately rushed up. What are you doing? What do you want to do to my girlfriend? The man was tall and burly. As soon as he came up, he lifted Ryan up. Ryan was dumbfounded, looking at his feet leaving the ground and then at the burly man in front of him. The girl wearing the same clothes as me was now hiding behind the man, looking terrified. Honey. You scared me to death. Woo. I almost thought I'd never see you again. You must protect me well. The girl's tears came easily. And she was crying pitifully. The man gently comforted the woman. Dear. Don't be afraid. I'm here. Turning his head, he looked at Ryan and immediately became fierce. The man punched Ryan in the face, then threw him to the ground and kicked him. Ryan's face turned pale. Kid, Hade. Apologize to my girlfriend. The man said viciously. Ryan clearly didn't know how he had offended this tough guy. But he was a bully who feared the strong. In front of me, a girl, he dared to speak harshly. But in front of a tall and burly man, he didn't dare to say a word. Why yes. I'm sorry. I mistook her for someone else. I'm really sorry. Ryan apologized very sincerely. Seeing this, the man snorted. I'll let you go this time. If there's a next time, I'll beat you so hard that your own mother won't recognize you. Ryan nodded repeatedly, not daring to say anything. The man then left with the woman. Affectionately. As soon as they left, Ryan started cursing. He walked away, touching his wound and cursing. At the end of the video, Ryan gradually walked away and soon disappeared from sight. Apparently, had impulsive reobsession. The beaten Ryan needed to deal with his situation first and didn't plan to wait for me anymore. The video ended there. At the same time, the security guard also sent me some photos. They were 360-degree. No blind spot photos of Ryan lurking downstairs at the company in a sleazy manner. To be honest, just looking at them made me feel bad. But I still saved them one by one. Leo was very punctual. He picked me up on time and we had dinner together. However, Leo's arrangement was a bit different from what I had imagined. I thought it would be a revolving restaurant. Romantic with starlight. Or at least a Western restaurant with a candle at dinner. In fact, I was sitting in the courtyard of Leo's villa, watching him barbecue for me. I really wanted to shake Leo's head to see what he was thinking. What else do you want to eat? Leo asked me after putting the grilled food in front of me. I shook my head. Uncle, huzzah? It's enough. What about the taste? Leo asked me again. I gave Leo a thumbs up directly. Although it was quite unexpected. Leo's cooking skills were really good. Leo smiled. As if he let out a sigh of relief. It seemed like he was talking to me. Or maybe talking to himself. That's good. His reaction made me even more curious about the reason for his choice today. I've never been someone who can kings to myself. Except for the fact that I liked Leo back then. Why did you think of inviting me to have barbecue, Uncle? I asked. Leo paused slightly. After a few seconds, he looked up at me. Because the last moments you made public. You said you wanted a boyfriend who could barbecue for you. I was stunned. I thought I should have forgotten the things that happened a few years ago. But at this moment, they clearly flooded into my mind. It was a gathering of our college dormitory. One of my roommates brought her boyfriend. As the only male, he almost took care of all the barbecue work. We were also well taken care of thanks to my roommate. That day, I took a photo of everyone having a barbecue and posted it on Moments with a caption. I envy my roommate. I also want a boyfriend who can run around and barbecue for me. And I remembered it so clearly because after that moment's post, a senior who had a good relationship with me confessed to me. I agreed. On the day I agreed to the senior, I cleared everything related to Leo. I chose not to look at his moments and also prohibited him from looking at mine. Thus completely drawing a line. Since then, I didn't contact Leo anymore. Even after I broke up with the senior. I didn't expect that Leo would remember all this. Nor did I expect that after so many years, Leo would suddenly do such a thing. And that box of chocolates I had asked for many years ago. Actually, I don't need it anymore. I still said. I forced a smile with some difficulty. Uncle, I declared, I think this kind of behavior is not like you. It's a bit childish. Trying to make up for the past seemed like a childish thing to me. Leo smiled and said to me, Zoe, between us, there's only the past left. I was slightly stunned. A blank present and an unknown future. All I can hold on to is the past. I can only selfishly pull you back to the past so that I might have a chance in the future. Speaking of this, Leo shook his head again. No. I never had a chance. All I want is to lose because of you. I suddenly didn't know what to say. Uncle. This isn't like you. I said. Leo was helpless. But this is really me. I was speechless. Probably noticing my dilemma. Leo quickly changed his expression and said with a smile. Let's eat first. Or, if you feel offended, I can take you back. He tried his best to act naturally. But once this topic came up, everything couldn't be changed. And I also wanted to ask clearly. So, Leo, I looked at him. Did you like me when you left back then? Why? I asked him. This time, Leo was silent for a long time. So long that I thought I might not get an answer. Then, let out a low sigh. Leo asked me a question. Zoe, do you know what a 7-year age gap means? I frowned, feeling it was ridiculous. Because of this? 7 years old. Yes, heading Fossil Ryan session. There's a 7-year age gap between us. But it existed before. And it still exists now and in the future. So what are you doing now? It's different. Leo looked at me and asked. A 20-year-old man and a 13-year-old girl also have a 7-year age gap. But such a relationship is called pedophilia. Me. I agreed with this view. But I was 18 that year. Leo smiled bitterly. But I was already 25. A 7-year gap isn't scary. But in certain situations, it's not acceptable. A 13-year-old girl isn't acceptable. And an 18-year-old you isn't either. Why not? I retorted. If I were your age, I could have a campus relationship with you. From campus to wedding. It would be beautiful. But I'm not. When you were still in high school, I had already graduated and entered society. You hadn't even been exposed to many things in the world. I couldn't change your world rashly when you were still ignorant about the world. Leo asked me. If it were your child, would you want your daughter, when she should still focus on her studies in high school, in the prime of her youth and carefree, to be with a social youth who has entered society and is ready to get married? I opened my mouth and replied, I would respect her opinion. Leo shook his head and said, but I can't do that. In my view of relationships, the premise for everything to start is that I have to be responsible for you. Leo said, there's a difference not only in age but also in values and perception between a high school student and a young adult in society. Yes, hadn't fulfilled my essay. You were 18 and legally an adult. But in many ways, you are still a child. I couldn't bring myself to interfere in your life under such circumstances. For me, that would be a despicable act. Leo paused here for a moment before continuing. So, I chose to leave. I suddenly found it laughable. So, you left back then because you liked me? Leo, it's all about what you think. What gives you the right to make choices for me? Leo smiled bitterly. Because if I let you make the choice, there would be no other outcome. I would have chosen to start. I wouldn't have cared about those things. But Leo did. So you knew what I was going to do when you left back then? I asked him. Leo nodded. I didn't know what kind of emotion I should have to face Leo at this moment, nor how to understand this relationship. Leo, I feel like a joke. Zoe, if there has to be a joke between us two, then that person must be me. I turned my head away, not wanting to talk about this anymore. But after a moment of silence, I spoke again. Since we had already started, we might as well make everything clear. Why did you choose to come back at this time? I asked him. Actually, I came back to China this time to handle immigration procedures. Leo replied. At that moment, I was extremely shocked. I even forgot those strange emotions. And the only thought left was to keep him. I came back on your birthday the year you graduated. Leo said. The year I graduated. Wait. I suddenly thought of something. At that time, someone confessed to you. And you agreed. Me. I've only been in 3 relationships so far. The first one was with a senior, which lasted for half a year. The second one was on my birthday the year I graduated. I impulsively agreed under the atmosphere. This relationship only lasted for a month and ended because the other person cheated. As for the third one, Rian, I made the choice back then. And I should bear all the consequences. So, Leo didn't tell me and left again without alerting anyone. And this time, Zoe, if you have no feelings for me, I can stay far away from you. But if you're still willing to give me a chance, you can stay where you are. And I'll come to you. Leo said. At the end of that day, Leo asked his driver to take me home. He said a lot. I learned about his feelings. But I couldn't respond immediately. And Leo just smiled and asked the driver to send me back, telling me to remember to eat something. The next day, his driver also appeared downstairs in my community on time. For a whole week, Leo's driver would pick me up and drop me off for work on time. And Leo, without fail, sent me messages on WeChat, like clockwork. Good morning. Good night. and he would share some small things he saw around him. And I didn't reply to any of them. Just because Leo likes me doesn't mean I have to respond to his feelings. He made a decision for me without asking back then. No matter what the reason was. It was a kind of hurt to me. But I can't deny that I've never been able to be cruel to Leo. The day after talking things out with Leo, I gave Leo permission to view my moments. And in this week, Ryan also showed up without fail. I was almost moved by his persistence. He came to my company to wait for me every morning, was stopped by the security guards every day, but still came as usual. He came half an hour early in the evening to wait for me to get off work. Every time he saw the man I arranged, he was beaten up at first. Later, he would run away when he saw the man. But he still came back the next day. After waiting for a week without seeing me, instead of getting discouraged, he started to change his strategy and began to hold a bouquet of roses every day. So much so that the employees in my company already knew about Ryan. When Ray heard about it, he even teased me. "Sis, why not just make do with him? He seems quite sincere. Get lost." Although Ryan didn't manage to stop me, his existence still had an impact on my life. And I was also a bit curious. Was he not planning to work anymore? Ryan was originally working in a company and doing well. He suddenly quit his job. He had already found a new job, but on the day of the scheduled interview, he was busy stealing the lottery ticket, so it fell through. And then he just didn't work? Puzzled as I was, I couldn't let Ryan continue like this. After enduring it for so many days, it was time to take action. I called the police again. Ryan had been waiting downstairs at my company for many days. Coupled with my previous police report and the photos of him lingering around my original residential community, the police took Ryan away directly this time and detained him administratively. That wasn't enough. I also contacted a lawyer and started to sue Ryan. Harassment isn't a serious crime. At most, it would just result in reporting him and detaining him for a while. But what I sued Ryan for was defamation of reputation. Ryan's actions in recent days had greatly damaged my reputation within the company. And as the heir of the group, this would have a very bad impact on my company. In addition, I actually recorded what Ryan said when he came to the company to look for me for the first time. And this can also prove that Ryan maliciously fabricated lies to slander and defame me, thus affecting my reputation. Next, it was up to the lawyer. Their professionalism would solve this problem for me. If Ryan gave up pestering me in the middle, I might have let it go considering the mole at the corner of his eye. Unfortunately, he didn't. So, I won't feel sorry for whatever consequences he gets. When a person does something wrong, they have to pay the price. On the day Ryan was detained, I sent Leo a message to inform him of this. In the future, Uncle, hahaha, you don't need to ask the driver to pick me up and drop me off. Leo, who usually replied instantly, took a long time this time to reply with a okay. Looking at the message, I suddenly smiled. I clicked on the voice message and said, "Uncle, having full Ryan session. I want to eat soy milk and fried dough sticks tomorrow." This time, Leo was much faster. His call came immediately. "Zoe." I laughed and pretended to be puzzled, asking, "What's wrong, Uncle?" Hearing this, Leo also laughed. Something seemed to no longer need to be said. "What else do you want to eat?" Leo asked me. "There are still many things I want to eat. Let's take it slow," I replied. Ryan was detained, and I no longer had the risk of being harassed. But Leo still continued to pick me up and drop me off for work. I said to Leo, "I'm just giving you a chance to pursue me." Leo smiled and nodded. "Okay. Thank you, Zoe." I added, "It's going to be very difficult to catch up with me." "Yeah, having the Ryan session. No matter how difficult it is, it's worth it," Leo replied. I continued, "And you have to promise to do 100 things for me." "Okay." Leo didn't hesitate at all. The first thing I asked Leo to do was to buy a series of animal-themed pajamas and put them on for me to see. Leo looked at the pajamas with a reluctant expression. But in the end, he obediently took the pajamas and went to the bathroom to change. He also cooperated with me to take a lot of funny photos. Just as I imagined, Leo's face paired with these cute clothes was extremely charming, making people want to pounce on him. But not yet. After all, I'm very hard to pursue. I have to make him pursue me for a while longer. The second thing I asked Leo to do was to carry me from the parking lot to my home. The third thing was that Leo made me breakfast that was different every day for a month. After a month, he had developed this habit without me asking. The fourth thing. The fifth thing. After Leo finished the 17th thing for me, I said to Leo, for the 18th thing, I want a very romantic confession. At that moment, Leo froze in place. It took him a while to react, and then he hugged me in his arms and said, "Okay." I didn't struggle, but complained. "What are you doing?" Leo replied, "Hugging my future girlfriend." However, Leo apparently didn't do this very well. The word romantic still seemed a bit difficult for Leo. He used a Klitschko method. He invited me to the riverside. When I showed up, passers-by appeared one by one and gave me a flower each. By the time I received 99 roses, I had also reached the destination. Leo set off fireworks for me all night. In the fireworks, he confessed to me. I agreed. It's just that the wind by the riverside was a bit strong and a bit cold. I shrank into Leo's arms, drawing enough warmth from him. "Zoe, I suddenly feel very lucky," Leo said. I snorted softly. "If you want to keep being lucky, you have to be good to me all the time." "Yeah, hadn't so blind session. I want to be lucky all the time." On the first day Leo and I confirmed our relationship. I sent Leo a bunch of my photos. "Pick one," I said to Leo. Leo was a bit puzzled. "Pick what? They're all beautiful." As he said this, he clicked the save button and saved all the photos I sent one by one. I was pleased by his behavior, but I still had to pretend. I tried to keep a serious face, cleared my throat, and said, "Pick one for your lock screen." Leo was stunned for a moment, and then said with some chagrin, "My mistake." After that, Leo simply and neatly chose two photos. One for the lock screen and one for the desktop. Later, I also found that he even changed his computer screen to a picture of me. Although Leo and I were together, the things I asked him to do hadn't ended. For the 21st thing, I sent him a lot of cute Qversion avatars and asked Leo to change to a couple avatar with me. Leo gave up immigration and transferred his work back to China. As soon as he changed his avatar, his friends in the moments were shocked, and our mutual friends, after seeing our avatars, seemed to finally understand something. The first one to come to me was Ella. "You're with my uncle?" Ella looked shocked. I smiled at her with a kind expression and said, "Good girl. Call me little aunt." Ella. For months later, the case in which I sued Ryan came to court. I was present on the day of the trial. Ryan's defeat was without suspense. My demand was for Ryan to issue a public apology through the mass media. As for whether the mass media was willing to report his apology, it didn't matter. I, being kind-hearted and beautiful, took the initiative to contact the TV station and negotiated everything for him. The only kindness I showed him was to blur his face. Ryan was furious but had no choice. However, when he saw me with Leo, he was stunned for a long time and then suddenly sneered. "Zoe, you actually found a substitute for me?" "Me? Who is the substitute for whom?" "Ryan. You've experienced the harshness of society. Aren't you awake yet?" Before I could say anything, Leo spoke up. "I really envy you," Leo said. "Me? To be able to deceive oneself to the point of making it seem real." Ryan, indeed, let out a low sigh. "If you want to get through life, you always have to find some reasons to comfort yourself." Leo said this with a serious expression. Oh, right." Leo smiled. "Actually, I should also thank you. If it weren't for Zoe choosing you, how would I know that she still has feelings for me in her heart? It's just that Zoe might not have seen me for too long and somehow made me look uglier in her memory." Ryan's face turned dark. "What do you mean?" Leo pointed to the courthouse behind him and said, "Just a reminder. Watch what you say." Ryan. What did I say? Ryan was extremely angry, but probably thinking about his defeat in the lawsuit. He swallowed his anger like he had eaten a fly. "Shut up. and left quickly. I was quite satisfied with this. I hope he can maintain this attitude and stay far away from me in the future. And indeed, Ryan completely disappeared from my world. The only thing he left in my life was that apology. This kind of thing was so rare that the locals talked about it with great relish for a long time. And it was even spontaneously pushed to the top of the hot search by the public. Although Ryan's face was blurred, some people who knew him well still recognized him. As for what happened to him afterwards, it had nothing to do with me. When he made the decision to steal the lottery ticket, Leon had to be prepared to bear the consequences. And my life went on. Extra story: 8 months after Leo and I got together, we met each other's parents. After that, we got engaged and started living together. After moving in together, I asked Leo to paint my nails. This was the 43rd thing I asked him to do for me. The first time he painted my nails, Leo could only choose a solid color. He was as meticulous as if he were doing academic research, vowing not to smear the nail polish at all. The result was quite good, but it took a bit of time. However, it didn't matter. Leo said, "Practice makes perfect." Later, he mastered skills like marbling and nail art. The 48th thing was to braid my hair. Leo was extremely careful, afraid of pulling my hair and hurting me. In the end, the braid was loose and looked awful. Leo looked at the final product and was silent for a moment. Let me practice some more. I didn't take it to heart. But later, when Leo braided my hair again, he could deftly create a fisted braid. It seems that if we have a daughter in the future, we won't have to worry about braiding her hair. The 51st thing. The 60th thing. 3 months after our engagement, Leo proposed to me. He took me to the new house he had prepared. The courtyard was filled with roses. And it was the season when roses were in full bloom. "Zoe, I want to make a commitment with you. Is that okay?" Leo knelt down on one knee in front of me, holding a ring. I smiled and reached out my hand to him. "Leo, I do." He asked if it was okay. And my response was that I do. On the day our wedding ended, Leo and I sat by the floor-to-ceiling window, looking at the numerous lights outside. I asked him, "Leo, Adela, when did you start liking me?" "I don't know," Leo said. He seemed to recall something. "If I have to say, perhaps it was the first time I saw you cry. You were crying so sadly. At that time, I thought I couldn't let Zoe cry." I remembered that time. I was in my 2nd year of high school. Leo didn't run into me crying by accident. All of this was my premeditation. Ella said that men can't stand women crying. I thought it made sense. So I practiced in front of the mirror for a long time on how to cry naturally, beautifully, and gracefully. After I was satisfied with my practice, I found a time and asked Tella to call Leo to my house. That day, Leo patted me on the head, didn't ask me why I was crying, and just said to me, "Do you want to eat some desserts?" Then, Leo took me to eat cake and spent a day with me at the amusement park. I had so much fun that I finally forgot what my original purpose was. Leo also asked me, "What about you?" "Me? When did Zoe start liking me?" Leo asked me. I also shook my head. I can't tell. If there has to be an answer, perhaps it was when I had an argument with my parents and threatened to run away from home. Leo took me to go karting. Of course. He drove, and I sat beside him. When I vented all my negative emotions, I looked at the person next to me. At that moment, I thought Leo was the most handsome person in the world. And from then on, he became the only standard of my aesthetics. The end.